Have you ever looked at an ancient object and just wondered, what secrets is it holding? What if stories carved in stone could do more than just, tell a tale? What if they could actually save your life? Well, today we're looking at an artifact that claims to do exactly that.
Okay, let's dive right in. This is the Metternich stele. It's this massive block of dark stone carved way back around 350 BCE. We're talking during the reign of the last native pharaoh of Egypt, Nectanebo II. But this thing, it isn't just a sculpture. It was designed to be a piece of life-saving technology. And that really is the big question here, isn't it? How could a hunk of rock, just covered in carvings, possibly cure the deadly venom of a scorpion? The answer is this incredible mix of myth, medicine, and pure magic. So to really get how it works, we've got to start with the object itself, and its pretty remarkable journey through history. I mean, this stone has had quite a life. It was commissioned by a priest, a guy named Asatam, who wanted to collect and preserve all these ancient protective spells. Then it gets moved to Alexandria, and poof, it vanishes for over 2,000 years. It doesn't pop up again until the 1800s, gets gifted to an Austrian prince, which, by the way, is how it got its name, and eventually finds its way to the Met in New York City. What's so amazing is that nearly every single square inch of this stone, front and back, is just jam-packed with images and hieroglyphs. And this is not just decoration. No way. It's like a dense library of magical spells, and they all revolve around one single powerful story. And that brings us to the story itself. See, to unlock how this thing works, we first have to understand the divine drama that's carved right into its surface. The story kicks off with some seriously high stakes. The god Osiris, he's just been murdered by his jealous brother, Set, so his wife, the goddess Isis, is now a fugitive. She's on the run, trying to hide her baby son Horus, who's the rightful heir to the throne, from his murderous uncle. But Isis isn't totally alone. The goddess Serket, who's basically the mistress of all things venomous, sends Isis this supernatural security detail, 7 enormous scorpions to act as her bodyguards on this incredibly dangerous journey. And check this out. This wasn't just some random group. They moved in a highly organized tactical formation. You had 3 scorpions scouting ahead, 2 flanking Isis on either side, and the 2 biggest and baddest, Tefn and Bayfin, bringing up the rear to watch their back. So, disguised as a poor beggar, Isis and her scorpion crew start looking for a place to stay. They come to the mansion of a rich noblewoman, and she basically looks at them in disgust and slams the door in their faces. But just a moment later, a poor fisher girl sees them, and even though she has next to nothing, she welcomes them into her tiny hut. This right here, this is the moral heart of the entire story. The scorpions, they are furious about this insult to their goddess. So, in this act of supernatural rage, 6 of them pour all of their venom into the stinger of the 7th scorpion, Tefn. They create a 7-fold poison that is just unimaginably lethal. That night, Tefn creeps under the noblewoman's door. He finds her young son sleeping peacefully and delivers that fatal sting. The boy collapses. The house just erupts in chaos and grief. Isis hears the mother's cries, and even though she was the one who was wronged, she feels pity for this innocent kid. She goes to the distraught mother and reveals her true power, proving her compassion is way stronger than her scorpion's need for revenge. So Isis lays her hands on the boy and starts this powerful incantation. She commands the poison to leave his body by calling out each of the 7 scorpions by their true secret name. You see, in ancient Egyptian magic, knowing a being's real name gave you absolute power over it. It was the ultimate magical key. And as she speaks those final powerful words, the venom just becomes harmless. The boy is brought back to life, the poison is dead, and divine order is restored. It's this triumphant declaration that words themselves have power. Okay, so that's an amazing story. But how did it translate into an actual cure? Well, this is where it gets really clever. It wasn't just a myth. It was basically a set of instructions for a very real, very practical medical procedure. So the crucial thing to understand here is this concept called Heka. For the Egyptians, magic wasn't some illusion or a trick. It was a fundamental force of the universe, kind of like gravity. They believed that sacred words, whether they were spoken or written down, could literally, physically change reality. And this is where the genius design of the stele comes in. A person who got stung by a scorpion would be brought to the stone. Water would then be poured over these magical texts, and it was believed the water would absorb their healing power, their heka. This charged water would then collect in a little basin at the bottom, and the patient would drink it. They would literally consume the story of healing. And get this, the people who performed these rituals weren't just priests. They were the doctors of their day. They were known as the followers of Serket, the very same scorpion goddess who sent the bodyguards for Isis. This just shows you how deeply connected magic and what they considered medicine really were. So what's the deeper meaning in all of this? What does this incredible artifact and its story really tell us about how ancient Egyptians saw their world? This one story did so many important things for their society. It was a lesson in social justice, right? Punishing the rich who scorn the poor. It reinforced the divine power of Isis as this merciful protector. And probably most importantly, it gave people real, tangible hope against one of the deadliest threats in the desert. And that really is the heart of it. The Egyptians didn't just run from danger. They tried to understand it, embrace it, and even harness its power. The scorpion, this creature of terror, becomes a symbol of divine protection all because of this story. They literally turned a poison into a cure. It all just leaves you with this fascinating thought, doesn't it? The Egyptians believed that stories, when they were told with real purpose and belief, could literally change the world. It makes you wonder, if we truly believed our words had that same kind of power today, what stories would we choose to carve in stone?